Love that rocking guitar, brother. Anytime.
The piano and the horn.
The piano and the horn, singing, everything. Well, a while ago I watched and now rewatched The Grinch That Stole Christmas. And I love that movie because it's our story, is it not? That part of us that wants to separate itself out and live up on a mountaintop and look down all those people having a good time. The Grinch consciousness is just so wild sometimes. We said on Sunday last that we are spirit, soul, and body. We are a triangle. We are spirit, soul, and body. We have a superconscious mind, we have a subconscious mind, and we have a conscious mind. And we said that the subconscious mind is like our Facebook page. It just takes everything and downloads it to our consciousness. Whether we like it or not or want it or not, it just does it through our eyes and the lenses and the retina. It comes in and it records information. But it's also connected to the superconscious mind of the Christ presence within us. It's there, also downloading its image and likeness of who we truly are. But it only comes into our being when we invite it. We have to be willing. We have to be willing. And so this particular season, we are looking at Jesus Christ and the Lord Buddha as well, too. We talked about, that's why we have the Christ face on the Buddha, because they actually tell exactly the same story. God sent beloved presence, superconscious mind of all that is, every so often sends an avatar to the planet to show us what we truly look like and who we really are, in a form we can see in the world. A Course in Miracles says it becomes our holiness made visible unto us, so we can see what it looks like, so we can have a blueprint from the teachings left behind about how we can awaken to that as well. What I notice about this time of the year is everything speeds up so much. Everybody's driving faster, they're not paying attention, they're texting, they're doing their phone messages, they've also got a job and they've got their kids and they're going shopping and the malls are full and everybody's whizzing around like crazy. And it's real easy to get into a Grinch state of consciousness about the whole thing. You know, and I found myself noticing that about myself on Wednesday. On Wednesday, I went into the back part of the Sunday school rooms. In the second room, it had that TV set on the floor. And Maureen came in and said, we're having a Christmas party, and we need to get the TV set out of the room. And I picked it up and I said, it weighs 200 pounds. Why do I have to do this? Why me? Why do I? Because, well, you don't have to. We'll get someone else to help you tomorrow. And I noticed I was in a Grinch state of mind. Right away I felt it. Because whatever you call yourself, you will become. Because we all live in who I amville. You know, what you say you are, you will become. So I got into the Grinch state of mind. I sort of felt myself rejecting what it was. And I was fine a few minutes before that. What just happened? Grinch came in and stole my Christmas presents away. You've got to move it. Even though your hip's still a little sore. It's like, oh, where did that come from? Well, it comes from a choice. When you label yourself something, you become that something you label, right? Whatever you label a thing, it will become for you. That's how it works here on this planet of constant change, constant change. So Grinch, when I'm in that state of mind, when you're in that state of mind, wants to have other people sort of join in him. He's got a problem. And the problem is, in those moments that we all have, is that his heart is too small, it's too little, it's too little. Does anybody relate to that heart that sometimes feels like it's small, like you've shut down, like you just don't feel it? Everybody's having all this wondrous joy, and we're supposed to be happy, and everybody's supposed to be enjoying everything, and you're a metaphysician, so you should always be in joy all the time. And sometimes maybe your Grinchy state of mind just doesn't feel like the joy to the world. One more hymn, you know? And sometimes you just don't feel like it. Maybe you've got something going on in your family that's difficult for you now. Maybe someone who you love very much isn't with you for this Christmas. Maybe part of your family is split up. Maybe someone's ill. Maybe you're ill. I don't know. All these things that can happen can pile up upon our state of consciousness, particularly in the holiday seasons where everything seems to be accentuated. It gets larger, doesn't it? You can feel things larger. You're supposed to be joyous, and and you don't feel it, and then you get grinchy about it, and then you go up on your mountaintop and you plot to figure out how to make other people miserable with you. Now, you don't do this consciously, particularly if you're a true student, but unconsciously, you do. Unconsciously, you want to get rid of it, so you do what we all do. We want to get rid of uneasy feelings. We project it onto others. So there's these people in town, and they're all happy, and he has a plan. I'm going to steal their happiness from them, as if you could steal anything from anybody. But he makes this plan to literally take everything that the people who think they're going to have for Christmas, and he rips it off. He takes all of it, and he just can't wait to see what happens. But what happens literally shifts his consciousness. What happens is, it's Christmas morning, and he wakes up, and guess what the people of who I am that I am are doing? They're standing in a circle, no Christmas tree in the middle. He's taken I think the guy even stole the snow. I mean, he just took everything that would make them happy. And they're singing. They're singing. They're singing songs of joy to the world. The Lord hath come. Let earth receive her queen. Man, I'm telling you, there was happiness in their hearts. He couldn't steal that away from them. Do you understand? And even though they woke up in the morning, and what did they have? Complete impermanence. The thing that can happen to any one of us. At any one time, at any one moment, everything you think that you are can be taken from you. Just like that. You can have your health one day and then go for a doctor's appointment and find out you don't anymore. There's someone we know in our congregation going through that right now. You can have it all one moment and then lose it all in the next moment. We had a friend named Coletta Long in ministerial school, and when we were there, Maureen and I were very broke, never poor, but very broke. And her energy was, she was a guardian angel for us. She just took care of us, and she loved us, and heaped gifts upon us. And she had money to get her all the way through school. And then what happened to her is, in the middle of all of that, that thing she thought was solid, having it all, she went from having it all to having nothing. The 3 stores that she owned in the closing business, they all started to go under. Someone took it over who wasn't a good person for that position and started embezzling funds from her. The silver that she had, $110,000 in silver, it went, remember the silver belly up that happened around the 80s? She went from having everything to having nothing. And that can happen to any one of us very quickly. The rug can be pulled out from underneath us. But the thing that we always have is what we truly are. And that, no one, not even Grinch, not even a store that collapses, not even your health, not anything can steal that from you except your conscious decision to allow it to be so. Yes? We make that choice. Every single day, we have an opportunity to choose once again what our reaction will be in any one moment. That's the power of the attitude that we can have in this moment, regardless of the conditions or what's going on around us. We can change and shift our consciousness. And the moment that we do, the energy from on high inside of us begins to pour us with blessing. Irregardless and in spite of what might be going on in your life. It can be there for you. It can happen that quickly, that shift in consciousness. The stories about the Grinch, the story about holding back, the story about Jesus and the awakening process, and the story of the Buddha is all about that internal switch from lack and limitation and fear to abundance and wholeness and oneness, right in the middle of whatever it is you're growing through in this moment. I'm thinking of a story in 1914 in World War I, and there was a war going on. That was going to be the war that was going to end all wars. Isn't it always the war that's going to end all wars? And when you think about what war is, it's the worst state of Grinch consciousness on the planet. It's when we attack and defend ourselves. It's when we believe our happiness is part of someone else's loss. It's when we dig ourselves in the trenches and believe that a war is an answer to bringing peace on earth. It never is. It never does. So here it is. It's World War I. It's 1914. And in that war, that incredibly devastating war, 8.5 million soldiers lost their lives. And hundreds of thousands were devastated by what they came back with and died from their injuries. So here are 2 opposite camps. You've got the British on one side and the Germans on the other. And it's Christmas Eve. And they're in the middle of lobbing bombs back and forth at each other. And all of a sudden, a miracle happens. A miracle of awakening happens. One of the German, only takes one German soldier decides to light a candle. He lights a candle. And then another German soldier lights another candle. And then another one gets lit. And then the bayonets, lanterns are lifted up high, and rifles with lanterns up on top are lifted up high, and men start putting Christmas trees on top of their head. And on the other side, the captain's looking, going, "Captain, you're not going to believe what I'm seeing here, but our enemy is completely lit up. We could actually kill them all right now. We can see them." And a shift in consciousness from war to peace happened instantaneously as they began to sing a song. And the song that they started singing in German was Silent Night, Holy Night.
Still enough.
Yeah.
Heilig enough.
And began to sing it. And as they began to sing it, the other side, in English, began to sing it. And all of a sudden, the war was over. There was a truce. The people of Who I Amville on both sides decided enough of this insanity already. We don't need to keep doing this anymore. And they came up out of their trenches, their entrenched position. You know your entrenched position. You know the one you're stuck in. You know the one you've been digging in for years. They gave it up. They gave it up and walked across and reached out their hands and shook each other's hands. And they began to speak to each other about things they'd never spoken of before. And all the Germans, many of them, spoke fluent English. And they said, "You know what? We are sick and tired of this war and this killing." And the British said, "We're sick and tired of it too." And they began to celebrate each other's consciousness. They had a miracle like feeding the 5,000 when they took a little bit of fish and they broke it up and everybody shared it. They took out their meager rations and began to share it with each other. Cigars, a little bit of whiskey, an old can of beer. They took everything they had and they shared it. They literally had a celebration right there in the middle of what's called no man's zone, where there's huge holes in the earth from the bombs bursting on the ground and barbed wire and blood. They were there celebrating that moment with each other. They took out their iPhones. No, they didn't have iPhones. But they took out their pictures and they began to show their families to each other. And for a time, there was a truce. For a time, there was a heavenly host of angels that were appearing. Do you see how amazing this change and shift in consciousness can be when we decide how it's going to be? Guess what? It can be. It can be that easy. We can make that shift in consciousness. It doesn't take everyone. One German soldier holding up a candle of light began the process. You and I are doing that right now. We are witnessing that kind of shift happening in consciousness, from separation to oneness, from us and them to nobody here but oneness. We're doing that right now with every breath that we take, with every decision that we make, with every choice that we make. We end the war within our own selves. We stop attacking each other, and in the name of peace, something glorious and magnificent happens. And so they spent the whole night doing that. And then, of course, as the ego would be, as the Grinch state of consciousness cinched them again, it was a couple of shots fired in the air, and it was time to go back into the entrenched positions again. And the two captains, the last to get in the trenches, looked across at each other, and they knew each other by name. And they bowed, and they saluted each other. And they fired 3 more shots in the air, and the war began all over again. And we've been fighting that same stupid war ever since, have we not? When the people of planet Who I Amville decide enough with the madness, when we realize that we are a self-fulfilling prophecy. No one is doing anything to us. Life is happening through us. It's happening through us. We can decide to do that and take all the energy and the resources and the trillions and millions of dollars we spend each year and use them for a greater purpose. Your work,
Amen.
taking that part of your warring self and bringing peace to it, is helping bring that now on earth. That's what it means to be a peacemaker in the deepest sense of the word. We're doing that every single day. And when we make that choice, the world changes. So the Grinch, is watching, and he's waiting for them to wake up and be miserable because everything's gone. And Jim Carrey does this so well, I won't even try it. But he puts his hands together and he goes, I can't wait to see them get miserable and their hearts to get small, just like me. And he goes, they're singing. Why are they singing? I took everything away. I took their Christmas presents away. Why are they singing? I want to know why they're still happy. I want to know why. Why? And you ask that question, and your heart begins to open. You ask that question, and his heart got 3 sizes bigger. He goes, I know why. Because their joy had nothing to do with material possessions. Their joy came from a deep fountain within themselves. And he got on his sled, and he went right down the middle of the people of Whoville. He brought everything back that he had taken, and everything was put back in place. They invited him to eat at the table, and they said, you've been always welcomed here. You've been hiding yourself high on that mountaintop, thinking you're separate from us. You are not. We are one. We are together. You hear that now? That's what you and I are doing. Every moment, with every single choice we make in our lives. Our friend Coletta Long, very prosperous woman, she didn't stay broke for long because she had the consciousness of the Christ flowing through her. She very quickly manifested all that money and even more to get through school because she knew it had nothing to do with what was going on externally. And that grouchy minister, me, I had to go through it though. Sometimes you got to play out the Grinchy thing. And so I went and got the hand truck, and Maureen goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm getting the hand truck. I've got to move this TV set. She's going, why are you doing this? You don't have to. Because I have to. And she looked at me and went, whoa, buddy. You have a nice little Grinchy moment if you want to, but I'm not getting in the middle of that. So I go over to the TV set, and by the way, I'm bragging. It was not 200 pounds. It weighed 100 pounds. So I pick it up like this, and I stick it underneath the hand truck, and I pull it out to there. And I'm walking by Maureen, and I said, get a net out here, and we'll get that thing in the car. And she goes, okie dokie, grouchy. I said, they come out, and you know, while they're walking out and going, and you know, the thing about the Grinch state of consciousness, it does get your adrenaline moving. So I went, I'm not asking these 2 women to help me lift this TV set up. And I took it and I went, slammed the back of the car, and we drove to the Salvation Army. Oh, I needed saving at that moment. Somebody saved me from this Grinchy state of consciousness. And when we got there and we packed the car, and there was this guy there with a big hand truck, and he said to me, do you want help getting it out of the car? And I said, yeah, actually, I do want help getting it out of the car. And we put it on the hand truck. He looked me in the eye and he said, I want you to know how important your gift is to us this time of the year. I want you to know that all the money we get that comes into the things that you bring really make a big difference, especially during this time of the year. Thank you for your Christmas giving. My heart just went 1, 2, 3 sizes bigger. Yes, the Grinch couldn't steal my presents of the moment. I could forget about it, but no one can take it from you. Yes, no one can steal it from you. Let's go to a lesson summation and we'll practice these things this week. The mind of the Grinch. No matter what we are encountering in life, we have the opportunity to choose either a Grinch state of mind or a who state of mind. Who and what we call ourselves, we will. That's right. You're a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's not about what's happening to you externally that matters. It's what you call yourself in the midst of that. 2, we are the only ones who can declare a truce within the warring parts of our own self. We are then able to step out of our entrenched position and reach out and touch the hand of the enemy, who then becomes our ally in awakening. 3, when our inner Christmas tree is aglow with the Spirit, we have the one gift that no one can steal from us, the gift of the one presence and one power that can be opened in any moment we choose. So, this holiday season, I added fun, because sometimes the spiritual work, practice can feel like a burden. This holiday season, have fun catching the Grinch before he steals your Christmas presents from you. You do this, my friends, and practice well, not just for yourself, but for all the other beings who live in the town of who I am that I am-ville. What we decide it will be, it will become for us. Peace comes by invitation, and we are inviting that peace of great joy to pass right on through it as we share it with others. Namaste.